All right. So, Darrel, tell me your favorite story of the Tulsa Dream Center in 90 seconds.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for having me
Yeah.
here. I would say that my favorite story at the Dream Center would be about 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
We had our Christmas mall at both our North and West campus,
Okay.
and I was stationed at the West campus. And one time during the whole Christmas mall, they had me stationed within our sanctuary room or hospitality room that we were having, where after the shoppers get their toys, we actually have them in a hospitality room to where we would get them coffee and cookies and just refreshments, but then also just a place for them to relax and to, really wait for the toys to be wrapped, etc.
Oh, cool.
So I was stationed there. We also use it as a time for prayer. And when I was in the room, it was an older woman that came into the room. And it was literally, I walked into the room, and then the staff that was there, she said, "Hey, I need you to cover for me." And then I like, all right, cool. And as soon as she walked out, a woman came in and she said, "Hey, I need prayer."
Mm.
And I was like, all right, let's do it. And then she started, I said, "Tell me about yourself." And then she said that, she's here, she lives here in Tulsa. She has a son that passed away. She's an older woman, so her son was maybe 50, in his 50s when he passed away last year. And she says, "I'm just still heartbroken from the passing of my son." And then I grabbed her hand and we prayed together.
Mm.
And I was just super happy that, I can be there for somebody to offer prayer and for her to ask for prayer and come seeking that, and was able to get it. And it was just an awesome experience to not only give someone just, food or toys or refreshments or whatever it may be, but to really give someone the hope of Christ and the love of Christ through prayer was super impactful. So I really appreciated that I got to experience that, and that she wanted to get prayer, and I was able to give that to her. So yeah, I would say that the Tulsa Dream Center, we aim to be God's hands and feet in the community.
Yeah.
And our mission is to end cycles of poverty, specifically within North and West Tulsa, through our 2 campuses. So I'm happy that I got to spread hope. In that opportunity right there.
Well, what a great gift to be able to have that. Yeah, that vehicle, the tangible thing, good Christmas, but then that intangible, my role as a pastor, some people don't get prayed for, and just to be that person that is just like, your concern matters and you're seeing in the midst of that. What a gift. A gift.
And I know it was the Lord that led me there because, I was a floater. So I had multiple different things that I could be doing during the Christmas mall event. And then as soon as I walked in and was replaced the staff member that was there, and the lady walked in, it was like divine intervention to where the Lord knew He wanted me at that place at that time to be able to be there for her. So it was awesome. And
that's cool.
It gives me new perspective of just how important it is for us to be able to weave our faith into our work and to be there for people in times of need, because there's power in prayer.
Amen.
And I'm excited for people to experience that power more.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that stuff is left out, and I think that it's a missed opportunity to love on someone in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We are so excited. It's 2026, and we have some great stuff with the Tulsa Neighbor podcast. This is my interview with Darrel Frater. Now, Darrel is new to Tulsa, and he works for the Tulsa Dream Center, as well as doing some other things you're going to hear about. I just loved Darrel's perspective. He teaches me about venture capitalism, tells me about the Dream Center, and then he tells his own story. And so it's really just a great way for us to begin the new year. Darrel is actually a part of the Leadership Tulsa cohort that I'm a part of. And so it's been great to be able to connect with different sectors of the community through Leadership Tulsa. And we're going to have some other of my friends from that group going to be joining us on the Tulsa Neighbor podcast as well. But now I want you to turn your attention to Darrel. All right. Well, so we're in Leadership Tulsa together, so that's how we've gotten connected. And so yesterday we were actually up in North Tulsa, and I went to the Dream Center. I've never been to the Dream Center, so I know a little bit more. But for somebody who doesn't know anything about the Dream Center, or maybe they just like, oh, I know it's up there and they do some stuff. what are some of the big, so tell us about what are the big programs and ministries and aspects of the Dream Center that y'all do?
Yeah, so the Dream Center is a nonprofit here in Tulsa, founded in 2001. So we're
Yep.
coming up on our 25th anniversary.
Awesome. Yeah.
The Dream Center is an independent 501c3, but we were founded by Victory Church and Pastor Billy Joe Dotery, who's the late pastor at Victory, and he passed away in '09. But back in 2001, when him and a number of other community members came together to build the Dream Center, they realized, especially in North Tulsa, in that part of town, it was high crime rate and a lot of things that were just disadvantaging that community right here. And they felt the Spirit of the Lord tell them that they needed to have an impact in that particular region. So Pastor Doherty actually did a prayer in North Tulsa. He said, God, give me land and I will do something for this community. And about 2 weeks later, a woman, her name was Mary, and her sister Martha, ironically, they called Pastor Billy Joe and they actually gifted him land. And then a few weeks later, another family gave them a call and they offered them money, gave them $1 million. And those six people, Pastor Billy Joe, his wife, Mary Martha, and the couple that donated the $1 million, they decided to build the Dream Center here in Tulsa. And from there, we're able to really create a tremendous impact in the local community. It started out with 3 pillars: food, clothing, and medical. And now we've expanded to 6 pillars where we still do food, clothing, medical, but we also do recreation, education, and now housing. So those are the 6 areas that we are supporting the local community and are doing so now for 25 years. So it's been a blessing for me to have joined the team. I lead development. I'm the director of development there. I've been there for about 6 months now. And it's been just incredible to be able to have that kind of impact to support the community, particularly in helping to end cycles of poverty. Yeah. That's what we intend to do. And we like to always say that we intend to be God's hands and feet in the community. So, yeah, it's separate from the church, but we're always doing the work of the church through the work that we do at the Dream Center. You know, we're the body of Christ. So we all play different functions within the body and are able to be that tangible outreach to the local community. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, what's that? I think, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was, thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was naked and you gave me something to wear. I was sick and you visited, and you're sick and in prison and you visited me. So not a theoretical idea. Like, no. Like, this is doing that. So let's go briefly through these 6 things. So food, so again, 3 days a week. Do food giveaway? Okay, I already forgot.
So we have a number of different food offerings, but our primary food offerings is our hot meals giveaway on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the North Campus, and just on Thursdays at the West Campus.
And where are the North Campus? Tell us kind of the cross streets of that, and the West Campus. Kind of tell where can we find those places? If you've never been up there.
The North Campus is on 46th Street and MLK Boulevard. Okay. I actually don't remember the West Campus top of mind because I always go to the North Campus. Although I service both, I'm stationed at the North, so I got to look that up online to get the West Campus.
Well, you've only been there 6 months, so and you're not a Tulsa native, and we'll get to that. So, but anyway, so
March will make 3 years of being here in Tulsa, so I'm still getting to know the cross streets, but I'll get there eventually.
You're good. Okay, sorry to interrupt. So we're back at food to be able to do this. So 2 days a week on the North Campus, 1 day at the West Campus, the giveaways.
Yep. So giveaway hot food. So the families are able to get a meal there, but also we create these boxes of food where each box actually contains enough food to feed 25 meals. Okay. So we're able to, really get a lot out of what we give out in these boxes. And last year alone, we gave away around 1.3 million meals to families in Tulsa last year in 2025.
That's why.
So we're excited about all the great work that we're able to do to really support families in that area of food. It's such a critical thing to be able to have access to food, especially in this economy. Many families are struggling. So the role that we play at the Dream Center is really to help them before they hit that level of poverty to where they're homeless or out of resources, and we try to catch them before they slip into that.
That's awesome. And then you also have like this little box. I can't remember the name of it. The little store
Yeah.
What is that called?
So the grocery box,
Grocery box.
is actually a partnership with RG Foods.
Okay.
And the goal is to actually have these micro grocery stores, or similar to like a bodega, you'll call it, to where people can get food at really great costs and get access to fresh food and produce where they otherwise wouldn't. North Tulsa and that region of town is considered a food desert. There's not many options for grocery stores. We have one major grocery store in that area, and that's Oasis Food Market. And, being able to now have these micro grocery stores through the RG Food Partnership and these grocery boxes is incredible. We have one on our campus at the Campus for the Tulsa Dream Center, and they actually are opening another one on 36th Street with the new development that's happening there. So the goal is to have one of these grocery box stores for every 2 square miles in that part of town. So we're excited to be able to have the first one and to help and assist in future ones that are going to be open.
Yeah, and I was just when we were there and I saw that and I just thought of, and I think oh gosh, I can't think of the director's name here.
Tim Newton.
Tim Newton. And he was talking about, yeah, like, you're making spaghetti or something and you realize, oh, I forgot the whatever. And, if you don't have access to a car and you take a bus, then, I mean, you're going to spend there. Or even if you do have a car, you're driving 20 minutes to be able to go there. Well, by the time you drive 20 minutes, go through the store, get what you need, come back home. I mean, that's 50, you're talking 50 minutes an hour.
Yeah, more, a lot of times more than that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really difficult to navigate and to be able to get everything you need to live a healthy lifestyle, also an affordable one.
Yeah.
So yeah, having these access to different resources is super helpful for people to level up in their, health, in their income, etc. We just really want to help people live prosperous lives.
That's awesome.
Every little aspect helps, whether you're helping them get a meal, whether you're helping them get a job, whether you're helping them, with childcare. All these things work together to help people live better lives, and we're excited to play a role in that.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. Well, again, I think that's I just like the way that solutions just kind of spring up. We'll talk some more about that. So, all right, that's grocery. So clothing.
Yeah.
Tell us about Dottie's Closet. Is that the name of it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So Dottie's Closet is what we call our clothing giveaway store, where families can go in there and pretty much shop for free clothes. All the clothes are donated to us, and we do a great job with our volunteers to be able to sort the clothes and organize them. But it's an incredible resource to where one article of clothing could change somebody's life.
Yeah, go ahead and tell the story that Tim shared yesterday with us.
Yeah, Tim tells an incredible story of a young gentleman that was incarcerated. This is probably about 10 years ago. And he came to the Dream Center just looking for clothes so he can go on a job interview. And Pastor Tim was able to get him, slacks, a shirt, and a tie. And he was able to go and do the job interview and actually land the job. And that was transformative for his life. After, getting incarcerated, he, got disconnected from his family, his wife, and his kids, and was really just trying to hit the reset button on his life. And being able to get the clothes and getting the job, he was able to really take that next step forward, and just having the hope and the confidence to be able to do so, and the support of the Dream Center really was something that was super impactful to his life. So you'd be surprised by just how a prayer and some clothes can help someone. And we're just happy that we could offer that. And there's so many countless stories of people that have been able to benefit from the closet and the clothing store to be able to help them in time of need. So we're happy for that as a resource. There's so many other organizations that have really great clothing programs as well, but we're just happy that we're able to serve our community and have one at the Dream Center right there on our facility.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'd say it is amazing to think, I mean, I've got more clothes in my closet than I wear any, and so you all accept donations, and then to think that, especially that dignity piece, somebody feeling good about what they're doing, feeling confident that they can go into a place and not just be judged, kind of like, ooh, what are you wearing? But like, no, I'm I'm ready for this interview, and how that can help do stuff. So, okay, food, clothing, recreation.
Yeah.
I know it's basketball season coming up, but there's a lot of stuff going on. So what all recreation what do we do?
Yeah, so on the recreation side is very important, especially when it comes to serving our youth. So we have 3 sports that we do, and we do it year round, and it was out of necessity. Started out with basketball, then we added flag football, and then we added soccer, because we just needed something year round for the students, because with the Dream Center and our different sports offerings, the students, in order for them to participate, they have to, be able to do three things. They have to, one, show up to school.
Okay.
Two, they get good grades. And then three, they can't get in trouble.
Okay. Yeah.
And you'll be surprised by how this incentive really keeps them focused to where they're showing up to school on time, they're doing all their homework and not getting in trouble because they want to play in the game on Friday. And that incentive has really showcased just how the power of getting them involved in a meaningful way and putting these, standards to them, that they begin to really focus on, how do I make sure I maintain these things? It becomes their natural habit.
Yeah.
So the students really love it. The teachers appreciate it because it gives them a little carrot to dangle that they can help keep their students focused. And, we even noticed just how when this different sports were not operating, when we only had basketball, as soon as that season ended, attendance will drop, grades will fall, and, behavior will fall as well.
Yeah.
But then now that we do it year round with the three different sports that we rotate in and out of, there's always something for the kids to be engaged. So it's super impactful.
And it seems like it preps. I've got two boys, one in middle school, one in high school, and but yeah, when you're playing sports in middle school and you're flunking a class, you're ineligible, you can't play, and so kind of does prepare them for this world of like, no, education matters. I know chronic absenteeism is an issue here in Tulsa, and so for you all to be able to have that carrot to be able to integrate with the schools. I mean, I want to say 1,100, is that the number of like people that are playing?
Yeah, across all the schools. So we serve I believe 34 of the Tulsa Public School elementary schools. So each elementary school actually gets their own team. So it's not like traditional recreational sports to where, people join and they kind of put on these random teams. Each school actually has its own team that's represented at the Dream Center, which is super exciting. Awesome. And it gets really competitive. People want to represent their school. They want to win. Also, they have those bragging rights. So it gets really, really intense. So it's fun to see the students and the families get really engaged when their students representing their team. So it's fun and it's great. It's impactful because these students are grown within their education and having that tied to it where, they really care about doing well so they can play.
Yeah. And I think, I played football, basketball, and I mean, there's so much you learn as a team in a team sport, and, just the life lessons you can get from that of like, wait, it's different than just shooting hoops, like I gotta play defense. I gotta be a part of a team. I need them to do what they could do. And so that those team lessons are just such good life lessons, and yeah, then that incentivizing. And so, all right, so we food, clothing, recreation, education, right?
Education, and medical, and housing.
Yeah. Education, medical, housing. All right, let's go to education, because I know that's such a big part of what you all do. When we're at the facility, you all got lots of classrooms, tutoring. Tell us some more about that.
Yeah, so with education, we have students that actively come to our after-school program.
Okay.
So after school, we have a fleet of buses and transportation that brings the students from school to the Dream Center. And the students are able to, first engage in some playtime. They get to have fun, and they get to play basketball and other sports and activities. But then they also get a meal. And then after their meal, we actually do homework and spend time with them to make sure that they're doing good in school. After they do their homework and have homework time, they actually have the opportunity to do in one of the activities where they have like music, they have their enrichment programs, they have dance, they have so many different extracurricular enrichment programs that they are able to participate in. So with our after school programs, both at the North and West Campus, we serve about 400 students.
So are these pretty much the same kids every day, kind of Monday through Friday, or does it rotate a little bit? And like, what are their, how does somebody, there's certain schools, or how does somebody get connected, I guess, maybe? How do these kids find the Dream Center, or how do you find these kids, I guess, might be the way around?
Yeah, it's partnerships with the schools.
Okay.
So we work with the schools, and the schools are able to send their students on the bus to get to the Dream Center. So I don't know exactly which schools. I think we partner with a lot of the local, especially around the North Campus. We partner with most of the elementary schools. But yeah, just have to connect with the teachers and say, hey, I'm interested in joining the program at the Dream Center. Can you help me out? And they'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah. All right. Medical then. Let's see. I know y'all got a little clinic there. So what all do you do medical wise?
Yeah, so for the medical clinic, we partner with the Good Samaritans and St. John's,
Okay.
and we have one at the North Campus as well as the West Campus. And pretty much we have what we call gap coverage, to where people without insurance are able to come to our clinic and are able to get full service.
Awesome.
And services that they can't get done within our facility, we also can refer them out to other places, and they're able to get full coverage there as if they're patient at these other locations. So it's really helpful for those that don't have insurance and need care, and to have that locally here at the Dream Center is super helpful. I believe they say over 1,000 people treat our facility as their primary care, which is incredible. And it's just a great resource that is available to people in the community. And so many people from North Tulsa and even beyond North Tulsa come and use that medical center as their primary care. So it's great, and a lot of people are blessed by it, and we're excited to be able to offer that.
Okay. All right. So that's 5. I forgot the 6th one.
Housing.
Yeah. So what does housing look like for y'all?
Yeah. So our housing is primary through our program, which is called Safe and Secure.
Okay.
And with that program, it's targeting emancipated youth age 16 through 18, but then also 18 through 24 that are youth that are at risk of homelessness.
Okay.
So we call it our homelessness diversion program, to where they may be living on their own, not living with their parents, and they pay for their own rent, etc., and they need help.
Yeah.
Whether they are at risk of missing rent, or they need help get on their first deposit into a new apartment, or for example, of they have a car that they're leasing and they're about to be late on their car note, and we can help with that, so that way they can pay for other stuff. And it's just like different ways to help prevent them to slip into homelessness. We want to catch them before they reach that, because there's a lot of resources here in town that can help you if you do fall into homelessness, but very little that help you before that stage. So we're happy to be able to play that role into how we prevent them from getting there in the first place, and being able to support in that way. So it's been an incredible program. We have a lot of support and different funding sources that support our Safe and Secure program that allow us to do that work. And it's been incredible to see the impact of the people that are helped in a meaningful way. Are very interesting, and I would say difficult time in their life.
Yeah. Well, and I do think, I remember who it was that said, we need to stop just pulling people out of the river, and said go upstream and figure out why they're falling in the first place. And so to be able to be going upstream, I think that's such an important part of doing that. There's just as I've worked with different families, sometimes you have guys, you're just like, if they could have just had a little break, just a little something, somebody in their corner, a little bit of financial assistance or whatever it might be, that, all of a sudden they don't fall through this like cascade of things. And so I think that's a really good thing. Now, I know, so you were kind of what you said yesterday was you're just a community resident, and you got connected with the Dream Center as just a person through the swimming program that they had there. So tell us about the swimming pool and a little bit of the history behind that.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, we were able to open the aquatic center at the Dream Center on the North Campus. And that was actually a community initiative that came on the back of tragedy. There are 2 young children that actually drowned, I believe in 2020 and 2022. Or 2021, and that family in the community reached out to Pastor Tim, and they asked him, like, hey, what is the Dream Center going to do? We cannot have our babies drowning and dying, and we need to do something to help them learn how to swim. So then we put together a capital campaign, and the Dream Center was able to raise a little over $3 million to create the aquatic center, and that's now been open since 2023. And that's the year that I actually moved to Tulsa. So when I moved to Tulsa, one of the initial things, our daughter was about 6 months old around the time we were looking for activities. And we bought a house in North Tulsa off of Peoria on 53rd Street. And the Dream Center was about 5 minutes away from us. And we learned about their pool and the aquatic program. So, and we enrolled our daughter into their Mommy and Me swim class.
Okay.
So we started going there, and that was my initial touch point to the Dream Center. Fast forward 2.5 years later, myself just speaking to Pastor Tim, some of the needs that they have at the Dream Center, they're looking to hire a director of development. And with my background in fundraising and in the venture capital world, and then also just my passion for closing the wealth gap and helping people, build pathways to wealth and ending cycles of poverty, just the nature of what the Dream Center stood for, and also the faith element of it, it just seemed like a very perfect fit for me to be able to serve in this capacity. So talked to Tim, and it was a great fit, and I joined the team about 6 months ago as a director of development. So I did not know that I'll be working at the Dream Center when I decided to enroll my daughter in swim class. But it's just a showcase how the Dream Center has something for everyone.
Yeah.
To meet everyone at different places, and for us to be able to have that entryway through the swim program was incredible. And I probably wouldn't have had that connection or that desire to join the team if I didn't have that initial touch point. So the vast number of resources they have that can be utilized by the community broadly really helps people get connected, and I'm happy I was able to do that, and here I am now working with the team.
That's awesome. Well, and it is amazing when you think about, because of the wide-ranging number of things that you do, if we just start to count the number of like individuals and the families that those represent that were connected, between the recreation, or how many different, the 1.3 million meals, and the aquatic center, or just even some of your, like the Christmas stuff. I'm sure there was a ton of people that you did, and you also had a ton of people that brought gifts. You had all these different boxes that were around. And so, it really is, I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people are touched annually by the Tulsa Dream Center. And as somebody who lives here in Midtown, who self-confessed doesn't go up north very often.
Yeah.
It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And so it's so good. And that's one of the things I like about doing this podcast is it's like, whoa, there's some great things going on. And if I just get out of my bubble a little bit, and to see what is happening.
Yeah.
It's like, God, I'm just so encouraged, literally encouraged by what you guys are doing, and that you guys are solving some big problems. So let's talk about generational poverty and closing that gap. So as an outsider to Tulsa, what is different about us, and what is happening in our community, good and bad? I mean, I don't want to, this isn't just like, hey, oh, we're so good. No. Like, why are there the disparities? We talked about this yesterday, this 11-year disparity in sort of life expectancy gap between like North Tulsa and South Tulsa. What are some of the things that you're seeing and that you've experienced, kind of with your different set of eyes? That's going on.
Yeah, well, I came to Tulsa about 3 years ago. March of this year will make 3 years, and I'm from Trenton, New Jersey.
Okay.
So I'm from the East Coast, and I would say that one thing.
You said the word bodega, which we don't use here, but
I
mean, I guess we could use it, but when you said bodega, I'm like, that's a Northeast one right there.
You caught me. But yeah, it's a lot different in the Northeast. And I would say that one thing that I noticed when I started visiting Tulsa, and that was back in 2021 where I visited Tulsa for the first time, I just noticed just how this was an ecosystem that was on the move somewhere. It was growing. It is somewhere with identity and a sense of pride and community. And I thought that was super unique, that I did not feel that sense of community citywide in other places that I've lived, as well as visited and been a part of the different ecosystems. And one thing that just really made it clear that me and my family were to be here is just the faith element. There are so many incredible churches here. There are a lot of people that feel called to be here and to participate in what God's doing in Tulsa. And I just felt that calling as well. My wife felt it as well. And a lot of people that we speak to, they feel that as well. They say God sent them here.
Yeah.
And it's not a unique story that I hear that a lot. And I too feel like the Lord sent me to Tulsa, and we feel blessed to be here. and we've built tremendous friends and community here, and the different programs that exist, such as Leadership Tulsa, and there's so many amazing programs that are bringing this community together in a powerful way. I couldn't think of a better place for me, especially at this stage of my life. I have 2 children and a wife, and a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old, and it's like an amazing place to raise a family. There's always things to do, always fun activities that are typically free, and it's just like I feel blessed to be here in Tulsa at this stage of my life. So, and additionally, I also just love the entrepreneurial element of the city. There's a lot of initiatives that are helping to spur entrepreneurship in the city, and that's what I feel called to. I feel called to help people build wealth. I feel called to serve entrepreneurs, and I feel called to spread the gospel.
Yeah.
And I feel like Tulsa is a place where you can do all three of those things
Okay.
really well.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about your venture capitalism world, because now that's not a world I know a whole lot about. So you're going to teach me some stuff here.
Yeah.
What? So yeah, what is venture capitalism? Why are you involved in it? I know you got some new stuff going, and what is it? Yeah. What are just give me some of the basics, I guess.
I give you the super high level of what venture capital is. So venture capital is a financial asset class to where investors like myself raise capital from typically high net worth individuals, family offices, foundations, and we invest those dollars into high growth opportunity entrepreneurs into their companies with the potential of large exit opportunities to really grow the capital that we've raised and are allocating. So similar to like Shark Tank, where you see, the people pitching the sharks and they, saying, hey, I want to, raise $500K for 5% of my business, or whatever they say per episode. We're doing the same thing, but essentially in real life. We're finding really great entrepreneurs to allocate capital to, with the hopes of returns, and we're helping those companies in that process for them to grow, succeed, hopefully have these really big exits, such as like a Uber or Facebook, etc. So that's the nature of venture capital. We raise money, we invest money, and we help return the capital back to our investors.
That's awesome. So how do you how'd you get into this world? That's, again, what does entry into that world look like? How did you get started?
Yeah, my pathway to venture capital is definitely non-traditional.
Okay.
I would say like the thing that really got me interested in venture capital happened in 2018. So just kind of quick backstory, the son of immigrants, my mother and father are both from Jamaica. They came to America. I had nothing except just my father's skills building with his hands. He learned carpentry in Jamaica and came to America and built his carpentry business. And then he started to do general contracting and started his own business in that. So growing up, all I knew was entrepreneurship. I didn't know anyone that had a corporate job, right, like that. All I knew was entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So I grew up really loving business and understanding what entrepreneur can do for an individual, for a family. Fast forward, went to college, studied business management, and about 3 years after graduating from undergrad, I learned about this thing called venture capital, where these people are raising capital and investing in these startups, and these startups are sometimes becoming huge companies that we use and love and adore today. And I saw that very appealing because as an entrepreneur, you can start a handful of businesses in your life. But as an investor, you can invest in hundreds of businesses and impact the lives of many people, both the entrepreneur that you're investing in and then also the customers that they're serving. And I'm a type of person that I really care about the impact that I'm having through the work that I do.
Okay.
And I couldn't see a better way to scale impact than to being an investor in people that are coming up with these really amazing ideas that are going to be able to transform the world. In many cases, if you think about the biggest companies in the world, these are the biggest things that are changing our lives, with Apple or Tesla or just so many of these new companies that are transforming the way that we work, live, and are able to, really build new innovations that are changing our world. So I wanted to be on the forefront of that. And additionally, back in 2018, when I learned about venture capital, I also was very focused on getting closer to God. I really took the next step in my walk to where, prior to that, I kind of just was doing what my parents instructed me. Hey, you go to church, and, just kind of was raised in that world. But around that time, I really drawn near to God and really learned deeper about what it meant to be a follower of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And I saw this just, unique opportunity to be able to sit at the intersection of faith and business through the career path I was building in venture capital. So from that time, it took me about 3.5 years to land my first job at a venture capital firm. The firm's called Visible Hands. I joined the team in 2021 as one of the first associates on the team. I spent 2 years there, then got married and started having children, moved to Tulsa around that time. Then when I moved to Tulsa, there was a venture capital firm in Oklahoma City that I had the opportunity to join called Ciroc Ventures. I was there for about a year and a half. And then most recently, about 8 months ago, started kind of my own journey, which led me to where I am today and launching my own venture capital firm. And I'm super excited to be able to embark on that journey to launch my firm. It's called TGN Ventures, the Good News Ventures.
Okay.
So it's very faith-driven and focused on economic mobility. And that's the theme of my life. I really care about helping people build wealth. And I see an opportunity to invest in companies as well as other funds that are helping people build pathways to wealth.
Okay.
So that's my goal. And that's where I'm putting a lot of my efforts into and continuing to support the work that I do here locally, but also from a national perspective, being able to launch this new venture capital firm to do that work, to invest in opportunities that are going to expand access to wealth building.
And so you find other foundations, partners, individuals. So like I'm just imagining, tell me if I'm wrong. So you have access to capital, wealth, resources, people, connections on one hand, and on the other hand, there are the entrepreneurs, the ideas, the innovations, and you're that connecting force. And so if I had a brilliant idea, I don't have a brilliant idea that would help people to be economically mobile or that kind of stuff, then I could come to you and I could say, hey, I'd love to pitch this idea. And I would need, I need $500,000 for 20% or whatever it would be. Are you more the Mark Cuban or the Kevin? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, and I could imagine, just how good that is for, there are such creativity, there's such imagination, and people who've experienced real problems often can come up with unbelievable solutions. That was something as we were going around yesterday when, Pastor Newton, he was talking about these kids with the 3D printer and they were 3D printing like replacement things for their toys. And it's like, oh, these kids see a problem and they see a need. And that's all of us, right? We see a problem and God's given us this insight to be able to see a need. Yeah. But then sometimes it's like, I see that, but I'm missing something, and you guys are able to kind of help out with that. Missing something. Is there, and you may not be able to share, and that's perfectly fine, but is there like something that you've kind of invested in through one of the venture capitalist things that you just feel like, hey, I'm so thankful I've been a part of this?
Yeah, I'll share two very briefly. So one is a local entrepreneur here. His name's Brandon Mitchell. He lives here in Tulsa. His company is called RightC. And RightC is a company that has built AI-powered career services to help people in their job search journey.
Okay.
And as you can see, your job is the number one wealth builder that you can create. So that was very appealing for me to be a part of their journey. And I was able to support them from day one about their company and being able to be an investor from the very beginning, and even recently doing another investment about a year ago. It's great to see how they are using technology to help people in a critical area of their financial ability and the ability to have a job and to be able to use AI to help them in their job search. So love what they're doing. And they're a local entrepreneur here doing great work to help people, specifically targeting universities that are helping getting their students access to that technology.
Okay.
The other company I would highlight is a company called Future Money. And Future Money is an investment product that is tailored towards parents investing on behalf of their children. And so these children are able to get investment accounts that are helping them build generational wealth by investing early, because there's the ability to use, compounding interest over long periods of time that can really be a compounding force that allow people to build wealth. So what they've invented is the Junior Roth IRA. It's a mixture of a traditional 529 account and an IRA. And they're able to invest, small dollars very early that grow over time and that can roll over into a traditional IRA account that allows, families to be able to, have their children retire with millions of dollars with only, $10 a week or $10 a month, over long periods of time. So it's like really taking a simple product that is being underutilizing and turning it into a financial instrument that can help people build wealth. So Future Money is an amazing product. I use it for both of my children. They both have accounts that we contribute into weekly, and it's something that I feel passionate about. Like these different tools and opportunities to do things that can help families build wealth. It's
awesome.
really important to me.
Yeah. Okay. I will say that. I say now, I wish I would have had that when my kids were young. I mean, yeah, because
even now, it's not too late to get started. Even now is better than, not doing it at all, because we always want to put our children in the best position to succeed. And small contributions today can lead to huge outcomes down the line.
Yeah. And I do love, I mean, there's so many financial systems that work against people. I mean, that, I think about, what my bank what I get in interest versus what my credit card charges in interest, right? It's easy to see who makes the money. And so to be able to be on the right side of money, I mean, there's a wisdom of that. There's a faithfulness of that, certainly, to be able to do. Now, let me ask a question. And so when you make an investment, it's a risk. How do you, I mean, how do you kind of weigh that kind of making this, okay, this company, I feel good about it. There's some good signs, but you never can predict the future. So how do you make those determinations and okay, is this worth the risk, and what level of risk is safe for me to do? How do you kind of weigh all that stuff?
Yeah. When you're developing a thesis around your fund or your firm, you have to really understand the elements of what you believe will make a great investment opportunity.
Okay.
And ultimately, you invest capital, but return that capital back to your investors and a lot more. Because our goal is to, create a financial return for our investments, and being able to see kind of what has succeeded in the past and kind of understanding what we believe is going to do well in the future, and understanding the different criteria that make a really great opportunity, as well as the founders and the entrepreneurs leading the companies being able to assess what kind of structure and mix makes a good opportunity, whether it be, understanding, the company's ability to build product, understanding the ability to go to market and sell to the customers. Are they building in a large market that has a big opportunity and a lot of potential customers? Do they have the ability to fundraise? Do they have the ability to actually attract capital from other investors to be able to have the resources they need to build?
Okay.
There are a lot of elements that we consider while we're thinking about entrepreneurs to work with. And also, do we have a really good working relationship? Do I think that founder or entrepreneur is a good steward of capital, as a good steward of the opportunity they have in front of them? There's a lot of, I would say, qualitative, but also quantitative elements that goes into making an investment decision. But ultimately, it does come down to having faith in the person, having faith in your team and your ability to underwrite the investment opportunity. And, you win some, but then you do lose some. Not all opportunities are going to pan out as you present, but that's why it's important to create a portfolio of opportunities. And the goal is for the whole portfolio as a whole to outperform, as opposed to banking on one single investment. And that's why it's much more strategic for most investors to work with a manager like myself or other managers in the ecosystem, as opposed to going directly and try to write investments themselves. We treat this as a profession, and we really see ourselves as experts at investing in entrepreneurs in these tech opportunities.
Okay.
A lot is, they say, no risk, no reward.
Yeah.
So it's our job to mitigate the risk and increase the likelihood of outsized returns.
Okay. Yeah, again, that's not a world that I've been a part of, but it does make sense that diversify, to be able to have people who know what they're doing, to think through, to have this. Okay, this is what we're looking for. These are the senses, and obviously there are things that are way outside anybody's control. But to be able to do that makes that makes sense to me. So I'm gonna go back to your story, because I'm fascinated. You said many things that have fascinated me, but so your parents came from Jamaica.
Yep.
To New Jersey.
Yep.
To build a life, I'm assuming, here, like America, the land of opportunity. Let's go. Let's see. Do you have siblings?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have three siblings. I have older sister, older brother, and it's me and a younger sister.
Okay. And so you're growing up in this world. You're seeing your dad work his tail off, I'm imagining, to provide for you all. You're going to school. So just like, what was like childhood like? Did you feel like, I mean, I heard the quote that like everybody thinks their childhood is normal until the moment they realize it isn't. So obviously you don't like, oh, I live 5 lives and this one is weird. But like, that would seem to be like, what was it like growing up? With parents who immigrated. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I would say that it was definitely a unique experience for us, especially my father being an entrepreneur, my mom being a stay-at-home mother. So I would say there was a lot of ups and a lot of downs as well, and especially in regards to our finances. There were times where we felt like we had a lot of money, and then a lot of times where we didn't feel we had money at all. Sometimes real lights will ever get cut off, and we'll go months without power. And it's realities of entrepreneurship to where, sometimes business is good and sometimes business is not good.
Yeah.
But, we're family of believers. My dad was also a minister. He had his own ministry for a number of years. And, we always had faith in the Lord that the Lord will provide. And ultimately, I'm still here today. So the Lord has provided, and it's given me a unique perspective. It's also given me perseverance to be able to understand that trials will happen.
Okay.
And then by faith, you'll be able to weather those storms. And I think that my upbringing, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Awesome.
I love my family, and you grow up and you begin to branch off and create your own family of your own. And now with me and my wife and my children are here in Tulsa, away from our family from back home. But it's actually have given me so much more love and empathy because the distance makes the heart fonder.
Yeah.
And so we love to call and visit, and when fly my mother out to spend some time with us.
That's awesome.
It's a blessing to be able to do that, and I love the fact that I get to have them experience my life here in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Because it's new. Everyone still lives in New Jersey, or some of them are still back home in Jamaica, and for me to branch off and do something different has been pretty unique for my family.
Yeah. Well, that's, I will say, I was just thinking, your parents took this risk to leave home, go to a foreign land, and you took this risk to leave home and come to a foreign land as well. So hopefully they understood, like, you're following in our footsteps, just a different way in that way. Now, earlier you alluded to there was a grown up family of faith. Dad's a minister. I mean, that's my story as well. And you kind of have this like faith that, again, you don't know any different. Oh, we go to church, or we're a part of this. And then you alluded to, there's a time I took my faith, like, for me, I own my faith. I took my faith seriously. What led to, like, was that just some normal, like, kind of like growing up sort of stuff? Or was there a moment where it was like, okay, God, I can't do this on my own. Like, I need faith to be real. What was that like for you?
Yeah, interestingly enough, it was somewhat of a random conversation that myself and my siblings were having.
Okay.
It was just random day. We were all in the guest room in our family house, and we're just having a conversation. And my younger sister, she just made a comment, and something just triggered in me. That's like, why not? We were just talking about faith, and then we all was like, yeah, I believe in God. I believe in all this stuff. And then she asked us, she said, but why don't we just dive deeper? And I was like, why not? Why not dive deeper? Why not take it more seriously? And like a switch, I just started that journey and realized how far away I actually was from God at that time of my life. And that challenge to dive deeper into my faith really allowed me to really learn more about Christ, about just what it really truly means to be a follower, and not just someone by namesake is a Christian, but someone that has really committed and devoted their life to be a disciple of the Lord Jesus Christ. And, we're still on that walk. You're never going to be perfected in your walk, but, it's something that in 2018 that switch happened. And, my life has been transformed in a powerful way ever since that moment. And everything that has led up to this point, even today, wouldn't have been possible if I had taken that step back in 2018. One thing that it has led me to do is even write a book about that journey. And that book is called Micro Obedience, Macro Impact.
Okay.
And it talks about how the decisions and the obedience in the small things is how you create large impact in God's kingdom. And it just, for me, just a reflection of the small steps of obedience, saying yes in 2018 to take my walk more seriously, to, moving to Tulsa, to starting these businesses, to saying yes to marrying my wife, to having children, and just all these small things that, really lead into walking in your God-given purpose.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm excited. The book's finished and should be releasing this year. So I'm excited to be able to bring Micro obedience, macro impact to the world.
When did you have time to write a book?
Man, I'm telling you, look, when the Lord puts something on your heart,
Yeah.
you just got to operate in obedience.
There you go.
You'll find the time.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I will say I've got some stuff that I was like, oh man, that. But I love that idea. But yeah, those micro things, those little things that, and I really do believe that like our best faithful decisions are those little things repeated time and time again. And it really is a miracle of compound interest in so many ways, right? That you keep doing these faithful things. And some days you read your Bible and it's like, okay, well, I read my Bible, nothing was there. And then other times it's like, sometimes you ask questions. Why don't we go deeper, right? I think about that question or something like that your sister said, right? That sometimes the right question, and then it just builds and builds and builds, and it just takes off from there. What a gift. Well, I'll look forward to that book. I'll buy it. I'll have the autograph it, and
I love that.
that'll be a really, yeah, just what a great gift it is. Cause I think sometimes people want their faith to be like the movie, like love sort of story, that there's this like big moment of like, you do this big act for God and then boom, everything works. And really it's like these little things.
Yeah.
And you go from there. So,
yeah.
All right. So, okay, which direction? Okay. Community is important to you. Faith community is important to you. And you're very active on LinkedIn. You're the selfie king. I know we'll get a selfie before we leave here. So I've seen some stuff. So you have like a workout group, you do like faith and business thing. What are some of those like little, like sort of faith sort of, but also interest kind of community groups that you're a part of here in town?
Yeah. So, the group that you mentioned, we did the workout, this past Monday. My wife and I, we actually started a nonprofit last year, called the Center for Faith and Business.
Okay.
And we're building a, resource center, a faith-driven resource center to serve entrepreneurs and help people be able to build businesses and grow in community, access to capital, and with faith being the foundation of that. Before we actually have the physical building and the physical center, we're starting with programming. And one of the programs that we have is called the Tulsa God Squad. And the God Squad is a monthly meetup of right now men, assume that the women as well, of people that want to grow in their faith, that want to grow in business, and want to just be able to gather and talk about life. So every first Monday of the month, me and a group of guys, we get together for an activity, and then we fellowship, we talk about life, we talk about business, we talk about faith.
Okay.
So what you saw was a New Year's January meetup, to where a lot of people have New Year's resolutions, and I was like, you know what, we should do something fitness related. So I was able to hire a local trainer supporting local businesses, and we did a workout session. And then we were able to fellowship and talk. So different activity every single month, but we always do it on every first Monday.
Okay. So that the Tulsa God Squad, part of the Tulsa Center for Faith and Business, which I don't know how long we're into this, and it's another thing that you're doing. My goodness, again, you've written a book. I didn't know about that. Again, I do a little bit about I did something about faith and business. I'd saved some of my questions so that I was like, I want to kind of be surprised at this conversation. You keep surprising me. So what else do you do that I don't know that you do?
Nothing else.
Okay.
Everything else you'll find out over time. But for now, we'll just focus on these few things: Dream Center, nonprofit, venture capital, family, faith. And I'm just super excited to be here and doing it here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's been incredible being here over the past 3 years, and I look forward for more people to visit Tulsa, to choose to live here and be a part of this experience, because Tulsa is special. I like to say to a lot of people, like, God's hand is over the city, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, one of my great experiences with Leadership Tulsa is getting to know people who didn't grow up here or weren't really familiar with Tulsa. So Oklahoma's home for me. So my dad was a United Methodist pastor, so we moved around the state. But I did my high school days in Owasso. Mm-hmm. My wife is from Tulsa, Broken Arrow. She graduated from Broken Arrow, and so Tulsa was like kind of home. Like that's when I was in college and I went home, I came home to the Tulsa area. Yeah. And then as I went to seminary and other such stuff, home was Tulsa. And as somebody who moved around a lot, I didn't know what home I didn't really know what home felt like until I was maybe 10 years ago or so when we were here, and I was like, this is what people talk about. Yeah. Like I enjoyed people and I loved the people, but I was like, this is what people feel like when they feel at home. And it was such a weird thing to be able to do that. And yet, in some ways it felt like natural to be a part of it. And we moved away and then we came back here a couple of years ago. And it's just like, we just wanted to get back home. It's such a gift. And I am, and so it is one thing for me in my mind, like, of course I would think Tulsa's home because there is the history and there's a family and there's other things. But to hear somebody like you say it, and 3 years in, like,
already
this
feels
is
like
where I
home.
want to be.
Yep.
I mean, particularly to be a man of color in a community where there's an atrocious history, and there are still some things that are happening in our community that give me pause. I don't know what it's like to be in your shoes. That's just very encouraging to me. So, let's dig into how you got here. So, because again, I'm just like, I don't know if you ever watched the television show Friends. But years ago, Chandler Bing moved to had his job in Tulsa, and it made all sorts of jokes about Tulsa, and it wasn't good. It's like teepees and cowboys and all that kind of redneck stuff. So, when was the first before you started looking? What did you think of Tulsa or Oklahoma? What was the perception of us from up there? So start there. And then kind of how did you start to get that like nudge to Tulsa?
Yeah. So I would say when we made the decision to move, Tulsa was not on my radar
Okay.
at all.
Okay. So you knew you were going to leave New Jersey.
Didn't know that we were going to move at all. When my daughter was 6 days old, I got a prompting from the Lord that it was time to move. And Tulsa.
6 days old. Let's do this.
My daughter was 6 days old, and the Lord spoke to me in a powerful way. Said, Darrel, you need to take your family and move. And the word was so clear to me. I went home. I told my wife, I said, hey, the Lord said we have to move. Didn't know where we were going to move to yet. Yeah. But we knew we had to move.
And it's such a biblical thing. I think often God will say, go. He doesn't say like, go exactly here, where, there. It's like, just go. Like, trust me, I've got this, but you've got to take that step of faith. So, okay. Yeah. And your wife trusted your word, or she felt it too, or whatever it might be.
I told her that. And she said, okay, I trust that you heard from the Lord.
Awesome.
And then we began that journey. About a month later, we had 3 prospects. We had Atlanta, Dallas more so, and Tulsa. And then we just started to, talk to realtors and put our feelers out. And the Lord kept saying Tulsa. Yeah. We actually bought a house sight unseen through just a realtor on FaceTime. And we bought a house in North Tulsa. And then we moved here. And then, after we made the decision that we wanted to come to Tulsa, I got connected to the Tulsa Remote Program.
Okay.
And then, they were able to accept my wife and I into the program. And it just was icing on the cake that gave us an initial community as soon as we got here to engage with. So, that was the immediate moment. But the journey, I guess, started back in 2021 when I visited for the first time. It's an organization here in Tulsa called Build in Tulsa, where they support entrepreneurs locally here, building companies, especially within the tech and the CPG area. And, I was an entrepreneur at the time before I actually started my investor journey. Tulsa, Build in Tulsa actually brought me over to visit in 2021, and I was able to bring my girlfriend, my wife now, girlfriend at the time, and we visited Tulsa for the first time, and that was in 2021. And then, I kept coming back because shortly after that, I actually started my venture capital career when I started the job at Visible Hands. And then, throughout that time, I kept visiting Tulsa because the GKFF through Atento Capital were investors in Visible Hands. So we used to do a lot of programming here in Tulsa. So, that was my initial touch point to Tulsa. And I really fell in love with what was happening here, but I had no desire to leave. And after getting married, and then we had our daughter Gianna, on her 6th day of life, the Lord just said, do it. And we decided to move here. So it's out of obedience, and just the Lord gave us just clarity that this is where we need to be. And he's blessing us through it. It's been incredible being here. I can go on and on about the different blessings that we've gotten, and also the blessings that we were able to give to others through being here in Tulsa. So I'm excited, and I know the Lord's still going to do even more greater work. Yeah. And I'm excited to just do it here.
Yeah. So those micro obedience, macro impact. Is that right?
Okay. That's exactly right.
And yeah, so those little decisions, those little things. Okay, I'm gonna take this step of faith. I'm gonna get this connection, and I really do. I mean, one of the reasons I love Tulsa is the philanthropy that's here in Tulsa and the intentional like investment into these sectors of recruiting people, of providing a place of stability and just innovation. That's kind of a really fun, unique thing. And so, I mean, to be able to attract people to Tulsa is really interesting. So you said you're coming, and then you got connected with Tulsa Remote. Now some people watch this might have high opinions of Tulsa Remote. Some people may have no opinion of Tulsa Remote because they haven't heard about it. So what is Tulsa? What is Tulsa Remote? And just tell people a little bit about what that is like.
Yeah, so Tulsa Remote is a program here. I believe it's a GKFF entity that brings people to Tulsa that have remote jobs, and they give them a $10,000 stipend to be able to, give them that little incentive to move here. And it's also a really great community to where there's a lot of events, a lot of resources, a lot of programming that help you get acclimated to the city. So it's just an incredible resource that help bring talented individuals that want to move to Tulsa and happen to have a remote job. So with Tulsa Remote, like as a person with a remote job, you can live anywhere. Why not do it here in Tulsa? And I think over 3,000 people have said yes to that answer. And I know retention is great, where a lot of people do the program, stay for the year requirement, and they stay here, just like myself and my family. We've been here for 3 years now, and we're excited about it. I think a lot of other people are as well.
So I would say, in some ways, this is a venture capitalist endeavor. Like they're trying to connect people, and then like the return on investment. I mean, in a very, people aren't finances, people aren't that, but like I'm assuming you all have contributed significantly more than $10,000 to the Tulsa economy through your taxes, through sales tax, property tax, all that kind of stuff, and then also what you all are providing through the venture capitalism world and through the Dream Center. I mean, the investment that Tulsa Remote made with you all, I know some people have said like $10,000, like don't they? But like, what a creativity and innovation to be able to do that, to be able to encourage and trust that Tulsa can sell itself for people.
Yeah.
And then they create that ecosystem. And I know there's several members of our Leadership Tulsa community that are Tulsa Remote people. And that was, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, sometimes I like to ask people, what are you surprised about? I was like, I was kind of surprised that like, there's all these Tulsa Remote people that were part of the group, but I think it really does. Again, it's just part of that strategy, ongoing strategy to connect people from outside with those who are in the community and the different sectors. And for me, it's been fascinating just because, I've lived in kind of my small little bubble for a lot of my life. I mean, I've got my work.
Let's pop that bubble now. Gotta get it. Gotta open up.
That's right. It really is.
And Leadership Tulsa has done that as well for you.
Yes, it has absolutely done that for me. Where, and that's part of what I wanted. I mean, I spend a lot of my time around. I mean, I love my church people. If you're watching this, I love you all, and they're great. But I spend a lot of time in the walls of the church or doing stuff there. And Jesus didn't spend a lot of time in the walls of the temple. He didn't. I mean, he was out in the community. He was out doing things, and I really think that for a church, and there are. Again, there's a good faith movement in Tulsa, but there still is a lot of people who are antagonistic about the church. They've had a bad church experience, sometimes because church people have done pretty terrible things. Sometimes it was just like an unfortunate thing, but it just really created that bad taste in their mouth, or something just, I know sometimes I feel bad as a pastor because I'm like, I hadn't seen somebody in 2 months. And I realized like, oh, I hope they don't, like there's just so much going on. I miss somebody and they get hurt. And it really hurts my heart. And so I just think that as a church and as faith leaders, we need to be out in the community. And, I had somebody who told me yesterday, they're like, so you're a minister? I was like, yeah. They're like, you're humble for a minister. And I thought, and I told them, I was like, well, I think our leader was pretty humble. And so I think that, but it was interesting, just the perception of pastors.
Yeah.
That again, there's a high regard for pastors in some ways, and then there's a low regard for pastors or church people or that kind of stuff. And so just being out, being somebody who's in it, but then also to be able to share, to share the hope that we have is just a great gift. So it's relatively good.
Amen, brother.
All right, now let me. I like to wrap these things up. Anything else you have that you want to make sure you share? I mean, you've done a lot, so Any other surprises for me?
No, I just want to encourage everyone to continue to explore just really great podcasts like this, and as well as just getting connected to church family, a body of believers like Aaron here and this church here that is doing incredible work to spread the word of God and the love of Christ, because it's the most important thing in our life. And I'd be remiss if we did not just talk about just how important it is to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Like I said, 2018, I made the decision to not just follow, just what my parents were telling me about going to church, but to be a true follower of Christ and a disciple, and to really surrender my life to him. So I encourage you to explore and take that walk as well. It has transformed my life and allowed me to do incredible things that wouldn't have happened in my life otherwise. So that's the most important thing. I gotta always shout that out.
Absolutely. Well, and I do think I was talking with somebody in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be preaching on like what is kind of the basics, and one of those basics, like what is the gospel, like what is the good news?
Yes.
And it is this incredible fact that we who were God's enemies, while we were God's enemies, Christ came into the world to die for us so that we may be redeemed and resurrected. He conquered life, death, and resurrection, and we because we follow him, we could experience those same sort of things in micro obedience. This church, I'm neglecting to wear it right now. I should have had it where we have a history of the what would Jesus do, and so there's a book called In His Steps. I don't know if you've ever read In His Steps, but it was written in the 1890s, and it was a pastor who asked a question, a fiction story, but I mean, pastor who asked this church's question, what would Jesus do? And that really, almost 90 years later became the bracelets, and then became this movie and all sorts of other stuff. But it really is, like what would Jesus do as a venture capitalist?
Yeah.
What would Jesus do if they felt a calling to move? I mean, what would Jesus do as a dad who's got two young daughters? Like, what would Jesus do if he lived on your street and your block doing your things? And I think that really is,
I love it.
and it really is about micro obedience. I mean, that little bit, and then all that interest that goes. So the macro impact, and obviously, I'm here, not because my dad was a pastor, but because like Jesus has redeemed me. And, I've had my own story, and Jesus has come and he's done incredible things in my life.
Amen.
And I want people to know that. So, all right, I asked some rapid fire questions to just wrap up. So, these are random. I have some typical questions, but all right, somebody's coming to Tulsa. You get to take them to two places. Where are you taking them?
Mother Road Market.
Okay.
Absolutely love Mother Road Market and the diversity of food options there. And it's just a cool, unique thing. I think it's the best food court in America.
It's awesome. Okay.
Then the Gathering Place.
Okay.
I think that is an incredible park, and just, you cannot be happy there. You have to just be excited about just the beautiful area it is, and just how much of an amazing resource it is to the community. So yeah, those are the two places.
Okay. What is a group or a nonprofit that you know about that a lot of people don't know about that you want people to know about?
I would plug the Tulsa Dream Center.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also would plug my nonprofit, the Center for Faith and Business. I would also plug Leadership Tulsa. It's a nonprofit organization.
Oh, that's right.
Leadership Tulsa. So many great programs. We're in LT 360, but there are so many other programs within Leadership Tulsa that I would recommend people check out. It's probably one of the best ways to learn about all elements and aspects of the city, and to get connected to different parts of the town and what's happening here in Tulsa. So I highly recommend checking out Leadership Tulsa.
Yeah. I concur. It has been so good just to be connected to different parts of the city, to go through a cohort experience, to get to know people has been incredible. I mean, I'd do it every time if I could. Obviously, that's not the point of it. But, just to be able to just reconnect with new people and do this kind of stuff. Great stuff. All right. So you mentioned Mother Road Market. What's another great place to eat in Tulsa?
My wife and I, we go to 918 Tacos, which is her favorite taco spot. We probably go there at least once a week.
Okay. What is something with your daughters that they're into that you're kind of into as well?
My daughter, Gianna, the 3-year-old, she loves ballet.
Okay.
And I've come to really appreciate ballet and dance and that form of art. About 2-3 weeks ago at Victory Church, they had their Christmas production, and there was a lot of ballet and dance and art and theater there, and I just gained a strong appreciation for ballet and the arts and dance. yeah, my daughter, she loves it so much. She's been doing it for about 4 months now, and I would say ballet with Tulsa Ballet. I forgot the name of their organization, but it's a Tulsa Ballet studio that she loves.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Can you dance at all?
I cannot.
Okay. I want to.
A little bit, a little bit. Let me be modest, a little bit.
Okay. Okay. I was say I can't dance, but okay. So what should I, as a white person in Tulsa, know about your experience as a black person in Tulsa?
That our experiences aren't as different as people think.
Okay.
I would say that we all have trials and tribulations. We all have different walks of life. And that, what's really important is just our humanity. That's much more important than color of our skin. And I truly believe that we're much more alike than we are similar. Although you'll probably get a lot of different answers from different people. I'm a natural optimist, and I really see that we're the same, and that there's a lot that we can learn from each other as well.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. What's a book I need to read besides Microobedience from Maximo?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna pull my book this time. I read a lot of business books, and I would say that one that is top of mind for me, I'm trying to think of what. Oh, I know, The Good Investor,
Okay.
and it's a book that speaks about how to invest with just the mindset of being conscious of what you're investing in and how your investments impacts people's lives. And that book is incredible. It's from a Christian author. He's also an investor, and The Good Investor is a really great book that I'm enjoying right now.
Okay. Good investor. Good. All right. You recently did a 7-day water fast. What day was the hardest?
So this year was my second year of doing the 7-day water fast. There's a church out in Atlanta called 2819, and Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell led that fast. And last year, when I did it, it was really transformative in my life. I would say last year, day 3 was the hardest. I almost gave up on day 3. And this year, honestly, physically was very much easier than last year. I didn't feel like the physical like stomach pain or lack of energy. I actually felt physically amazing this time around. I would say mentally, probably when it ended, I actually felt like while I was in the fast, I had this unwavering confidence. And after the fast, I was just nervous, like, will this feeling go away? So I would say after the fast, and one thing that I would say is that this fast, I learned how to use fasting and prayer as a tool that I can use year round, not just for a 7-day water fast that I'm doing in January. And I'm excited to be able to take that revelation and apply it to my life year round and not just one time during the year.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I would say fascinating. Yeah. To have that experience and difference year after year, to be able to do that. What is the thing you miss most about New Jersey besides family? You can't say family. Besides family, what do you miss about New Jersey?
I would say the food.
Okay.
I think that we have some really great restaurants in New Jersey that I would love more diversity in terms of the types of food that's available here in Tulsa. And that's one reason why we have a development project that we're doing through the Center for Faith and Business. We're actually developing a 23-acre plot of land and turning it into an entrepreneurial campus. Okay. And within that entrepreneurial campus, we want to definitely bring in restaurants that are going to be able to represent a wide diversity of foods. So yeah, that's something that I'm excited about and look forward to. We do have good food here in Tulsa, but I want more and more diversity of it.
Yeah, yeah, that feels good. I would imagine there'd be some great food up there. Seafood or just all kinds of
all kinds of food from different places and countries, and just so much diversity of food. I guess because just the diversity of the people that are there and the communities that are there. It's great. Like Dominican food, Jamaican food. It's just like so many different types of restaurants that are there that I miss.
Yeah, yeah. What is your favorite word?
I want to say obedience, but I think it's played out by my book in this interview here. So I'm going to say alignment.
Okay.
Alignment is my favorite word because the Bible talks about that all things work together for the good for those that love the Lord, and walking in obedience has been a mission of just finding alignment with God's purpose for my life. So alignment is the word that I'm excited about and favorite right now.
Okay. What do you hope people say about you?
That I love the Lord so much and that I want everyone else to experience his love.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Final question. I stole this one from another guy, but when was the last time you felt most fully loved? Just kind of wrapped around you.
I would say this past birthday, I turned 33 on December 26th. And, one of the new family traditions that my wife and I are starting is for my birthday, we go see a movie together as a family. And I felt just so much love with my children and my wife. And that's when I felt really loved.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, I have a lot more questions, but we won't go into that. So thank you, Darrel. It's been a pleasure. And man, I've learned a lot. So I really appreciate your time. And I'm sure people, they can follow you on LinkedIn. Other ways that people can, obviously go to the Tulsa Dream Center website, other things that they can connect with that we need to know about.
Yeah, just LinkedIn. I'm also very active on Twitter or X. And I'm very open. So if you want to connect with me, shoot me a message. You want to get on a phone call, you want to meet for coffee or meet for lunch. I love meeting new people, and I always want to just help people in whatever ways I can, specifically entrepreneurial people as well, and people that are also called by faith. I really want to connect with more people. So yeah, if you ever want to connect with me, I'm an open book. Love to meet.
And I forgot this question. It's a very important question. What's the secret to a great selfie?
Oh, lighting. The angle and the lighting, because the sun is, depending on the direction of the sun, that's the direction you gotta get your lighting. So I always find the right angle and get the right lighting.
And for people, what's your estimate number of selfies you've taken?
I probably have over 1,000 selfies.
Okay. What's the most famous person you've taken a selfie with?
So about 3 weeks ago, Robert F. Smith was in town. He's one of the most wealthy investors in the country, and I got to take a selfie with Robert F. Smith.
What brought him to town?
There was an event at Langston University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, very good. Well, again, thank you for your time. I'm glad I remember that selfie question because it was on my list in my.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Thank you.
I appreciate what you're doing with this podcast and with your ministry.
Absolutely. Thanks, Darrel. I'm so thankful that Darrel is a part of our community here in Tulsa, and that they are establishing roots and making a difference in our community. I was so thankful to learn more about the Dream Center. Honestly, it's a fantastic organization, and Darrel does a great job of helping us understand what they do. So this is what I love about the Tulsa Neighbor Podcast. We get to learn about our community. We get to learn about the people in our community. And what we're going to do next is we're going to begin kind of a new season thinking about education in Tulsa. And what are all the different ways? And so our next episode is going to be with Dr. Tamika Rogers. She is a part of Tulsa Tech, and her story is fascinating. What they do at Tulsa Tech, it's way beyond what some of us grew up thinking about with Votech. And it's going to be a great, great conversation. You're going to love that. So that is next on the Tulsa Neighbor Podcast.